when my child said, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy, I thought I had failed to raise a strong feminist. Failed, forgot to do the things that my mother and my grandmother had done, forgot to instill pride.
How do you define failure?
Well, it has felt like dropping the ball on something important. People you love, obligations, goals. It has felt like miscommunication. It has felt like lack of information, learning too late. And so I don't know if I define it, but I know how it feels. And I think the other part of that, the flip side of that is, in hindsight, the moments when I have failed. And it's a fact. There are failures.
Yeah.
The moments when I have dropped the ball on my kids, when I didn't understand what they were going through, when I realized something past the moment.
And I remember going for therapy with my partner, and I said to the therapist, please, can you teach us how to have conflict? Because we love each other. But in that moment of being in intense disagreement, it literally feels like the world would be better if I was on my own. And even with my kids, I think, especially when they're teens, I find teenagers by their existence are scary people.
They really are. Teenage boys, teenage girls. I mean,
scary. You never know what's going on in their minds and their emotions.
And so one day I took a different approach, and instead of doing, I asked the question. I pulled my child aside and I said, what is really wrong? Like, why are you so upset? And my child said, well, because everyone thinks I'm a girl and I'm not. I am a boy. Yeah. In that moment, I thought I had failed to raise a proud girl.
My guest today is Jodie Patterson, an acclaimed author and activist known for her work on identity, gender, and family. Welcome,
Thank
Jodie.
you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
What a beautiful, impromptu.
I know.
You are in town and
I've been trying to get here for years, trying to get here.
Yeah.
The timing is right.
Yeah. When you heard the name of this podcast, Cheers to Failure, I'm sure you thought, do I want to be a part of it?
No.
Don't I?
No, I thought I want to be a part of that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
You live 55 years. You have 5 children. You've been married twice. And you know that failure is the story, part of the story, much of the story. The important learning comes from failure.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when you think you failed, you've actually discovered or you've actually pivoted. So that has been something I've thought a lot about. I've experienced it.
Yeah.
And I am grateful for many of the failures. So when people want to talk about that, I'm all in.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So tell me first, how do you define failure?
Well, it has felt like dropping the ball on something important. People you love, obligations, goals. It has felt like miscommunication. It has felt like lack of information, learning too late. And so I don't know if I define it, but I know how it feels. And I think the other part of that, the flip side of that is, in hindsight, the moments when I have failed. And it's a fact. There are failures.
Yeah.
The moments when I have dropped the ball on my kids, when I didn't understand what they were going through, when I realized something past the moment. It was a urgent gut punch to course correct and to shift. Yeah. So failure also to me is the precursor to transformation.
Yeah. I can imagine being the woman that you are, that the most important role you play is that of being a mum. And so when you fail in that space.
Thank you for noticing that.
Yeah. And when you fail in that aspect of life, the parent aspect of life, it could feel quite heavy.
Catastrophic.
To navigate. Yeah. Talk to me about how you've navigated it. And because I'm sure some of the things that it's taught you then you are still navigating and learning about now.
Well, one failure that sort of smacked me in the face was when my child said, I'm not a girl, I am a boy. And at the time, I didn't know that we were transgender. I didn't know any of the movement. This was, 10 years ago. And if you think about it, the world was much more ignorant then. We had not had the hit show Pose. We did not have Caitlyn Jenner say, my brain is female. So we hadn't gotten to a point where we are now. And I had several children, and one was rocking the boat.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I forgot to spend more time, or I forgot to read more stories, or I forgot to hug. So I was doing things to fix the circumstances, even changing the diet. And finally, and it wasn't working. It was getting worse. 3 years into this child's life, there was recurring nightmares and aggressive behavior. And so one day I took a different approach, and instead of doing, I asked the question. I pulled my child aside and I said, what is really wrong? Like, why are you so upset? And my child said, well, because everyone thinks I'm a girl and I'm not. I am a boy. Yeah. In that moment, I thought I'd failed to raise a proud girl. Because my family I'm a line of activists from the civil rights movement, Black Power movement, Black economics movement. Yeah. My grandmother was dubbed Ms. Revolution for her work in the segregated South. Martin Luther King dubbed her Ms. Revolution. My uncle is Gil Scott-Heron, who wrote "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," a prolific song. Yeah. So I thought, and we are women who are proud to be women, raised by great women in my family. So when my child said, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy, I thought I had failed to raise a strong feminist. Forgot to do the things that my mother and my grandmother had done. Forgot to instill pride. And so these are all split seconds when your kid says this. And I thought, okay, what can I say to show solidarity with my child? And I said, however you feel is fine. If you feel like one of the boys, if you feel like your brothers, just act like your brothers. And my child said, no, I don't feel like a boy. I am a boy. So, of course, I didn't have the answers then, but what I was compelled to do was to listen. So I failed to not know what my child was experiencing those first 3 years of life. And then I shut my mouth and I listened for, it probably was an hour, but it felt like a forever. And my child told me about himself.
Wow. In that moment, is there a voice that is doing jumps and hoops inside your head? Because I can imagine when your child reveals themselves that way, and as a parent who thought you were understanding and giving them support that they needed, that there's
bad mom.
So there's a face of you that is listening.
Yeah.
But then there's a whole other movie going on inside your head in that conversation.
I would say, I hear what you're saying. What happened for me was that up until in those moments before he said that, I was processing in my brain, and there was a dialogue that was going on in my mind. And it was a lot of what my mom had done and my grandmother had talked about and the lineage I came from. And so that was what was running through my head. But when my child told me something that I really had no concept of, it was so far out of my understanding, I actually stopped. It was the first time, and I write about this, it was the first time there was quiet. The only thing I remember hearing was there was a river in the background of our house, and I just heard the river, and I heard my son talking. And it was the first listening moment. Because as a parent, you have the answers. You think you have the answers. When you're in your 40s and 50s, you know so much. You think you know so much. But in that moment, I realized there was something huge about life, huge, that I didn't know. So I was, thank God I listened. I just shut up.
What did you have to do differently from the moment of you listening?
Well, I think one of the things I did was hold it tight, because I did know that being different is dangerous. Historically, we've seen how that causes war and problems and fighting and death. So I kept it close. I went internal, which was a struggle, because you're holding something very heavy by yourself. And I was imploding a bit. I was staying up late, Googling, trying to understand something I didn't, listening to podcasts and taking a Malcolm Gladwell, one of my favorite authors, Malcolm Gladwell, taking his approach 10,000 hours. So what I did was learn.
Yeah.
I studied 10,000 hours, transgender, gender, diversity, the language, the words. I was Googling like all these, some things that were not true, right? Because the internet is full of garbage, but some things that were very helpful, organizations. And I did that a lot on my own. I went to conferences on my own, sat in the back, listened. I made new friends on my own, trans advocates,
Yeah.
trans doctors. And I think that I also, when you ask what did you do with that information, I tried to connect the dots. So, we think Black civil rights is one thing,
Yeah.
but the civil rights and the human rights that my child had presented was something I hadn't contemplated. So the revolution of Black power, I understood. The revolution of women's rights, I understood. But this scared me.
Yeah.
The type of revolution. So I really accepted that fear. And I didn't try to make any answers. I didn't try to make any quick adjustments. I just, for maybe a year, studied, learned, drank some wine.
Yeah.
Drank a lot of wine.
Yeah.
It
What role did your inner
lonely.
circle play in helping you navigate that time?
was lonely at first.
Yeah.
I didn't, because if you tell someone, this is 10 years ago, Black women, mothers, that your daughter is actually your son, they say, girl, just put a dress on her. Drill down in your belief system.
Pray about it.
Pray. Show her Eartha Kitt, Billie Jean King, Nina Simone, Maya Angelou, Dr., all the great women who have changed the world for the better. They said, just remind her how strong it is to be a woman. So I couldn't talk to people about it all the time to get impact or to get information. But what I did do eventually was find my crew of women, and I started telling them bits and pieces, regardless of their response. I would sit down at the dinner table and just tell them what I was going through. And so my girlfriends have been with me along the journey, and I've actually helped shape their minds along the journey. They weren't necessarily in agreement with me. So I didn't have anyone to rely on, but I had a testing ground.
Yeah.
Like a round table to sort of tease out the response. I could put something on the table and see how they would respond, so that when I got to the point of talking about this on stage in front of thousands of people, I was prepared for the nuances of the discussion. Yeah, I think my friends helped me with that.
Yeah, but I also think because of your child being almost, I want to say, the center of the topic of what you're dealing with, as well as yourself alongside your child, you can't really take outside voices that much into consideration, because you have that job as a parent to do what you believe is right, and they don't.
This is like, and the weirdest thing is, this is such a natural, scientifically and numerically, there are trans people in our families, in our schools, in our communities, LGBT people in our families and schools and communities. So that is an actual fact, but the lived reality is that many of us have not a clue.
Yeah.
So I couldn't listen for their advice. But what I did do is listen to the criticism for the understanding of where the gaps were. So I would sometimes read all the comments, negative comments.
Yeah.
I would sometimes listen to my girlfriends talk negatively about it or ignorantly about it. And I would process it not in terms of in an emotional way, but in a data way. So I understood that religion created a gap, socioeconomics creates a gap, culture creates a gap. And that gave me the information on how to break the gap, bridge the gap.
Yeah. I remember when I was helping my eldest son deal with anger and not fitting in at school, and how he wasn't top performer when it came to sports, nor was he top performer when it came to academic results, nor did we have the cars or the phones that would give him social cred with regards to how his friends or the access they had, and the class of affluence they belonged in, which he didn't belong to. I remember helping him, but needing to phone a friend who's a psychologist.
Okay.
I drove home, sat in the car, and I said to my friend, I'm calling you quickly so you can tell me what to say as I walk in the house. Because as a parent, I'm walking in with a set of emotions.
Okay. Yeah.
And I am also frustrated because of how he's rebelling. But I need to hear him. I need to meet him where he is. And I can't fix it. I can't fix
We
it.
find that out. Cannot fix these things.
Because as parents, we want to fix.
Yeah.
We want to get into what can I do differently for you so that your life is not painful, so that you are not judged. And what she said was, you don't have to say anything when knocking on the door. Allow your child to speak first.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
just
Listen.
hug them, believe them, and listen. How was your experience in the day-to-day navigation of just conversations that you have? Because you had a lot of time when you were learning and underering and gathering.
Well, I have 5 kids. So
Yeah.
this was like in the midst of 5
of doing all
very
the other parenting
different
requirements.
children.
Yeah.
From 2 marriages, and also I
Yeah.
adopted a son.
Yeah.
So I decided that I would need to take on some form of subversive parenting because, as you know, your kids don't believe in the things that you believe in necessarily. And so I had one kid going in this direction, other kid going that direction. And there was always conflict on anything, whether, it was who gets the front seat of the car or allowance or God, gender. And so what I started was something called the lab. And I've taken this practice in the house, but I've also taken it to the boardroom and beyond.
Oh, really? The lab.
The lab. The lab is subversive parenting, which allows for conflict to turn into curiosity. So if there was something that we were debating or disagreeing on, we'd sit in a circle on the floor and we'd lab it out, labbing out these big concepts. And the rules are very, very simple. You can speak as long as you want.
As long as that's where I would use my patience.
And it develops patience. So whoever has the microphone, proverbial microphone, can speak as long as they want. It's not a debate. So it's not tit for tat. You're just speaking your truth. And you can say anything. So it would be something like, I have a very science data son. He probably would vote on the right side as the left side. He's conservative. And at the time he said, listen, I love my brother. I'll always use the right pronouns. But scientifically speaking, you are female. We can't just, go willy-nilly, and you can't just become. You're born physiologically female. And he talks about that, and he would go on and on and on about the science that he knew. Now, in my mind, of course, as an adult, I know that his science is faulty. There is science to prove gender diversity, but we are listening. So he's talking about that. And then when it's my other son's moment, he says, well, this is how God has made me. I'm here. I'm trans. There's no debate. It's proven. This is how God has made me. And the science kid says, I don't believe in God either. So science, God and trans, these are not things that are scientifically proven. Over the years, they've been talking about this, disagreeing on either side, not getting any closer. Because the point is not to agree, it is to disagree with decorum. So we would do this thing where they're talking about gender.
Their points of view and what the facts they know.
Yes,
according
and
to each
how
one.
they see it for hours. And then at the end, they say, this is so boring. You want to go play some basketball. But religiously it happens like that. So we have labbed out big, scary ideas until they become no big deal. We have learned to live with each other, break bread together, play basketball.
Oh, wow.
And still hold disagreeing points, still hold opposite ends of the spectrum on a discussion without it becoming conflict. So when I realized that we can, that the point is not to agree, is to disagree with decorum, we can live with opposite beliefs. And then I start to bring that process into rooms where adults were trying to work together. Boardrooms are made up of 15 people. They don't come from the same backgrounds, but they have a goal. Classrooms. So I brought this practice to parents and to business folk and to activists of labbing out big ideas. That was something that came specifically from raising 5 curiously different kids.
So how does it end? How does
triumphantly?
But the differing opinions, the different point of views,
There's
the
no
fact
end.
that the point is not to agree, to disagree with decorum. as a person who is facilitating, I'm going to call you a facilitator. When are you aware that okay, we've had it now?
We've had enough.
We can
So
close
interesting.
this.
I did this recently with there were about 15 of us, and we were trying to solve a problem, global problem of hate. And so this company hired me and 15 other people to roundtable for 3 days to solve hate. And we were a white supremacist, an LGBT activist, a Jew, a Muslim, a corporate person, an educator. We were from vastly different backgrounds. Of course, we're not, in reality, you're not solving, but you're the issue. But you are creating ways for humans to live with very human issues. Man-made problems have man-made ways of navigating. You might call it a solution. Like, I don't know if at the end of each session with my children we've solved anything, but the redirection of energy went from, you have to understand my point, to let's go do something together. Let's go live, play basketball. So I think, I'm not a sociologist, I'm not a historian, I'm not a business advisor, and I get hired by companies to talk about this, not because I have a track record of within medicine or in finance or in world politics, but because I have lived with a city of diverse people, my family, and I have structured it with the same planning that goes into city planning, and the same understanding that we have to have places to dwell, like libraries. We have to have places where we can come with all kinds of different levels of information and sit and break bread. So I don't know if I've solved anything, but the issue that I am, my goal is to be triumphant. My goal is to keep my kids alive. My goal is to not lose a mom in an argument or a kid over an ideology.
Yeah.
And I think that is the goal of where this world is now. We have so many different ideologies, but we do not want to lose human life over them.
Yeah,
And,
I agree. Yeah. What I have found in my career and at home is that it's difficult to have fights in a healthy way.
Facts?
Fights.
Oh, fights, yes, for sure.
Arguments, fights. And I remember going for therapy with my partner, and I said to the therapist, please, can you teach us how to have conflict? Because we love each other. But in that moment of being in intense disagreement, it literally feels like the world would be better if I was on my own. And even with my kids, I think, especially when they're teens, I find teenagers by their existence are scary people.
They really are. Teenage boys, teenage girls. I mean,
scary. You never know what's going on in their minds and their emotions. And as a parent, you've got to remind yourself to love through the disagreement with a child.
Yes, and love through the disagreement, lower the anxiety, which happens when you do this lab out, because it becomes, you're talking ad nauseum about something. So it's not tit for tat, it's like long form conversation, which lowers it. But also proximity to something that is different from your belief is important. I think that most times when we have conflict or when we have aggression, it's because we haven't seen it, we're not used to it, and our body goes into fight or flight, and there's all this adrenaline. My goal is to expose myself and my children to the vastness of this world. I don't want to just see what I already know and reinforce what I already believe. I want to see something that rattles me a bit. So when I see it the next time, no big deal.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's, if we're trying to, again, solve something, but I think that the idea is to become relaxed, fluid in the unknown, and also to share space to close the gap between what I know and what someone else knows. So I like to be around people that are different. I put myself in strange situations all the time because I think if we don't, we will have these cultural collisions that are catastrophic.
Yeah.
I have a funny story. I take my kids on the same vacation every year to an island called Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
And I rent a little house.
Yeah. Is it the same house and the same
typically
location?
Yeah, typically.
Okay.
Because my budget is the same every year. So we always leave something like Monopoly board piece or like swimming trunks. And this year I was opening up the kitchen and we're all piling in the house and I'm setting up the kitchen to make sure everything's there. And I'm opening the silverware drawer and I find something that we left from the summer before. And it's our Afro pick. And it's ours. I know it's ours because it's the long prongs and it has the black fist of liberation. But it was in the silverware drawer. And it had barbecue sauce on it. And so in this, I had to realize that the people after us, they didn't know. They used it on the grill.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
And my kids were like, they don't know what an Afro pick is, Mom?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And I thought this is because we don't see each other. We don't actually live in the other skin. We don't know the language or the customs of the other. And that's mostly the dominant culture doesn't see or understand the other culture. So white people don't fully see blacks and straight people don't fully see queer and cis don't fully understand what it's like to be trans. And I thought to myself, it is imperative for us to share space close because we will be in a cultural Afro pick on the chicken grill collision.
That's a title of a book.
You have to see it.
Literally,
It's a terrible thing.
I think it's
funny, terrible, but also terrible.
Yeah, but
and
it's filled with lessons, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about a moment where you were afraid of failing, and you had
today.
You had to coach yourself to push through that feeling of this fear of failure.
So many, I feel I'm like a ball of nerves all the time.
Really?
A ball of nerves.
Yeah.
On my kids, I know that like life is so important. The stakes are so high. Tragedies happen all the time. The world is complicated and politics are against my children in many ways. The fear of failure is there. For me, the fear of failure is not on the stage speaking to people. I can riff. I can mess up my words and still feel fine.
Yeah.
It is not in the philanthropy that I do. You know, I don't fear that I'm not going to raise enough money.
Funds, yeah.
I don't fear that I will fail the board. I sit on the boards of the Human Rights Campaign, Mount Sinai Hospital. I fear that I will fail my children in this life that is tumultuous. So my goal is not to necessarily fix, but it is to protect. And that is the thing that gets me.
Yeah.
Am I here in South Africa and not there in New York with them?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Am I in my world with my adults and not on the streets with them when they need me? Or have I not told them something that will remind them who they are so that they can go out in the world and be strong? It is a constant like, oh, did I forget to do something?
Yeah.
That's more of my fear. I don't have the other stuff of like failure in my career.
When you've written a book, you haven't wondered if it will be received well.
No.
Are you serious?
No, I mean, I was terrified probably the early stages of writing the book, but then it was joyful. It was really like a scientific experiment.
Really?
And a joyful dance to write the book. And I wasn't New York Times bestseller, but the way it landed on my heart, it was fantastically successful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And did you talk to people to check your idea of the content you wanted to write about before?
No, well, I had a
starting.
team. Yeah. It's not like I was Toni Morrison, like solo writing in my own little corner by myself with my own brilliant ideas. I had editors and a coach and friends and my journal entries and my family. I was turning ideas around with their ears, but I was relying on my own memory. It's a memoir, so it's not an autobiography where everything is historically precise.
Yeah.
It's how I saw it.
Yeah.
So I did have a team of people. I did have some support there, but I never worried if it was going to be a success or not. Like the success to me was that I got a book deal, that I was writing a book every day.
The success is that you did it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are so afraid of putting out ideas, creative ideas that they have, because they just kind of fear the judgment and they fear the what next. A friend wrote the book and says, well, I've written the book, and my wife is asking me, where's the money that's supposed to be in our bank account now that this book is written? And he talks about how, for him, success was the fact that he wrote the book and didn't just think about it.
Some of my relatives wanted the book to be something different. I mean, they were very proud of me, and they loved the book, but there were elements that weren't in the book that they wanted to see in the book. And so that was, my heart had a little twinge when they said, but why didn't you put this in? Or maybe you should have done that. I didn't want to disappoint them, of course. I wanted them to be proud of the writing, because it was somewhat a story of our family history.
Yeah.
But I asked them to write their own book. Go ahead, have at it.
Yes, exactly.
Do all the chapters that I didn't do.
I'll connect you to my team.
Exactly.
Let's see you write your book. Yeah.
You have to have, you have to have some thick skin in the game of parenting, in the game of being a Black woman, in the game of change making, because I sit with people who are richer, have done more, have, accolades beyond mine, but yet I come to the table with a very strong presence of what I know. And I ground myself in my motherhood, because I know what Black women, Black mothers know is important. It is problem solving. It is conflict resolution. It is making something out of nothing. It is against the odds. We will be triumphant. It is building Black churches and Black universities and Black towns. This is the work of Black mothers. And so the spaces that I'm in don't have a lot of Black mothers. Yeah. I welcome them, but as of right now, I'm one of the only few in these spaces. So I don't worry about how I'm going to land.
Yeah, and the content the stuff
stuff I know is tried and true for generations.
Yeah.
So what is it? Dr. Maya Angelou said, when you walk into a room, you bring all your aunties with you.
Yeah.
You're not walking by yourself.
Yeah.
Now, if you would ask me about politics, I don't. I'm not a politician and I don't have that, but I can talk to you about how it lands as a Black mom and what that means in our community. So I don't have that fear.
Yeah. How do you support mothers who are not connected to what their children need?
Oh, that's a tough spot
what
to be in.
What their kids need. Because you are familiar with what it feels like to not be connected. And you were blessed to have the moment where you kind of connected very sharply and deeply. And you could be instrumental in changing your child's life and many other people's children's lives.
My day-to-day work is talking with people. So I'm several times a month on stage or in a room with a lot of times parents or lawyers or doctors or financial advisors, but people who are responsible not only for their teams at work, but their teams at home.
Yeah.
And I share my story. I think storytelling is important because I was someone who didn't know, and I know some more stuff now. I don't talk from a place of, if you don't learn, you'll be canceled, or if you don't learn, shame on you. I talk from a place of the mind is malleable. We can shift. Here's some tricks to do it. Here's some ways. So I give some tips on how I shifted, or some learnings on how I shifted, and some tips on how people can shift.
Yeah.
So, for example, a really easy technique, it takes some time, but it's easy. You look at your social media friends or your social media life. For a while, I only had Black women on my Facebook page. And I thought, oh, that's good because Black women, that's where I want to be. But then I realized it was my social media world was excluding my child, right? So the world that I was creating did not even have any trans. So I went out and put myself in spaces where trans people existed, where trans people were talking about subjects that I was interested in, where the leader of the room was trans, and I sat in the back of the room. So for a year, I put myself in trans spaces. So if your friend group looks like you're not doing the work. And I tell that to parents. If your friend group looks just like you, which most of us are guilty of that, go find new friends. You don't have to get rid of your old friends, but you have to learn to speak this new language, queer language, Black language, young folk language, because of our neurodivergent language. Our children need us to be multilingual. So that is something I talk a lot about. Learning to connect with your kid in a way that is not just like over dinner or on a vacation, but getting into their world and learning their language.
Yeah. Do you think that trust at home is important for the kids to feel safe with their parents and be able to share with honesty without fear?
Yeah, but you have to be first vulnerable. So
As a parent,
I was telling my son, be brave. Tell the world who you are. But this woman was not brave. I was in my 40s and hiding behind a marriage, hiding behind an identity, hiding behind a lot of things. And it resonated, but the big change, the big shift was when I started practicing the things I was telling my kid to do. A lot of times we tell our kids to do things we are not even doing.
I know.
So I had to be vulnerable. I had to be humble with my kids. I never grew up with adults being humble to children.
No, it doesn't happen.
I wasn't trying to be rude, but I just didn't think that I needed to prove myself to my kids. I now take the approach that I'm in it is each relationship needs proof. So I prove myself I try every day to prove myself to my kids through humility, through exposure to my flaws, to stories about myself when I made the worst choice. And then I compliment them a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I try to, apparently my kids say that I have a catastrophic way of parenting. Everything's a big deal. Everything. So I try to lower the stakes a little bit.
I love that. So you have to be aware of even the choice of words you use to describe your
and just chill out,
situations.
just chill out. I don't know if you can say this, but take a gummy.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Start the day over again tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm divorced.
Okay.
And I've been divorced for several years now. I remember learning to talk about the divorce with my kids.
Yeah.
In a way that would make it possible for them to have a positive relationship with their dad as well as a positive relationship with me. How did you navigate divorce?
Two.
The two divorces, yes.
Well, my family has married, in my extended family, there has been divorce and we have not lost the family members. So my mom was my dad's second wife. My mom and his first wife were very close, and all the sisters, 2 from my dad's first marriage and 2 from my dad's, we're all close. We don't say half, we don't say step, we don't.
You don't use that in the language.
No,
so I never know what languaging to use because sometimes
That's
I
just
feel
us.
like it hurt. But I mean, so it's a concept that I've seen from a couple of friends, and sometimes I feel just because I am sometimes proudful or proud.
Yes.
And egotistical that I'm like, you can only have one mother.
Oh, no.
I'm the one mother.
This is where I'm a little crazy. That's what I say. The line stops here. There's one mom.
Yes.
You have one mom.
Okay, I thought the label of mom, dad is also generously used.
Well, everything else is generously used, but that one, I'm holding on to that for dear life. And I'm not playing because I take it seriously. If someone else were offering, look, everyone can be snuggly and cuddly and give affirmations. I don't view that as what mothering is. The way I look at mothering, it is building a community. And I've yet to see anybody else take the same. I'm not being egotistical. I have not done it perfectly. Yeah. But my everyday brain is thinking, how am I building my kids up? How am I building this community? How am I building my home strategically? So I don't play around with that. I'm a mom. But what I do have grace around, and I think it's very smart to say sisters, not half sister.
Grannies is a full granny.
Yeah, and we have a lot of aunties. We bounce up. So if you're a good friend, we bounce you up to auntie. We believe in the extra vibration of that. So, the divorce issue it's hard. I probably messed up a lot. I know I messed up a lot. I was very sad after divorces. And you divorce for a reason. You're not getting along. So there's that residue. But my children spend a month with me and a month with dad. A lot of equal time. Yeah. It wasn't my idea. I wanted them all. And he said, no way. I want my kids too. So we ended up splitting the time, a week and a week, but that turned a month into a month. So there's a lot of time that they get to see how he parents, and and then they get to see how I parent. Very different. Over time, I've become less judgmental, less worried. What will happen if they go to Dad's house and he does it differently? That was terrifying to me. So much of what I've learned from divorce has been on me, like that things, divorce doesn't destroy the family.
Yeah.
It does not have to destroy the family.
Yeah.
You have to be agile. You have to, it's a long marathon. You'll have learnings in 5 years later, 10 years later, you'll really have some learnings. So it is that kind of, like we talked about patience in the beginning.
Yeah.
But divorce has given me patience.
Yeah.
But also tenacity. Like, I learned a lot from the men that I no longer want to be with. They taught me how to be ballsy, creative. They taught me how to balance my own budget, literally and metaphorically. Because, you're a wife and then you're on your own and you're just like, there's no like, he'll just do it.
I love that as a lesson. I've just learned how to afford my whole life from the morning I wake up
Top to bottom.
to the last shower I take. I must be able to afford everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Because usually a lot of people stay in relationships that they're not happy in because of the financial strain. Yeah. And the fear of what life on your own with your own finances might look like.
Luckily, there was a thing inside of me that said, the voice was not what will happen financially. The voice was, Jodie, what's going to happen to you if you do not get out of this? And it was, more like I knew that I was not going to actualize fully if I stayed longer. Now, there was a lot of growth and love and learning in those 17 years that I was married. But then there's another life that happened after that. And I could actually see it. I don't know if you saw it out, what could be possible outside of the divorce.
Yeah.
That's what really pulled me out, to see
too,
the future of possibility.
Yeah. I felt that I was too young to be miserable every day, to go to bed doubting if I'm worth love, and to feel like my mistakes were not forgiven.
Yes.
And I just thought, like, at that age, it was in my early 30s, I was like, there is just no way. There's no way this is the life I'm meant to live. And I also realized how I would never learn how to parent fully if I'm not happy. And I decided to give myself that gift of making
I think a lot
decision.
of women, like you just talked about, feel stuck. When we get into our 40s, 30s, 40s, late 30s, 40s, and 50s, we're like, is this it? Is this it? And my answer is no. The hell no, it's not it. So we have to understand that women are feeling stuck in their jobs, in their careers, in contracts they've made with people that no longer fit them and suit them. And then we have to remind women how to get out, how to transition into another place. Because being stuck is literally what most women are feeling right now in my world. And that's been the new thing that has been on my mind that I've been talking about and writing about.
Yeah.
Women getting unstuck.
Yeah. Let's talk about the friends you've lost in the process, because I can also imagine, I know this for a fact, that when I look at my failures and the friends I have now versus the friends I had then. Yeah. A few people have remained in my life. And I have.
Is that a part of age too?
It is. It is also a part of age. But I have just found that there are conversations and spaces I have come to realize I won't do great in. Because in my accepting myself, in all of my faults and all of the things I do well, there are parts of me I want to apologize for. And some relationships require you to mute those parts. I'm like, no, I won't.
Losing friends. I 10 years ago, I would have said, no, I haven't lost a friend. I think the relationships that I have lost have been male-female dynamics. They no longer serve me. They're holding me back. Okay. We don't speak the same language of equality. We don't speak the same language of like mental flexibility. A lot of men that I was involved with were not flexible, not visionary in many ways. And I needed something more. So I would say the relationships that I no longer, not to be a Debbie Downer, but the relationships that no longer suit me often have a male-female dynamic.
Okay.
My girlfriends, can I tell you, I have the gathering of women. We gather women. My group is a gatherer of women. And so we're not adding new friends and new friends and new friends, but there are some new people in my life that are there for life at this point forward.
Yeah.
And it is a mindset that I find in women.
Yeah.
We are curious. We are opinionated.
Yeah.
We are adventurous, pragmatic. And those are, and that, when I say women, like it all forms.
Yeah.
But I have not lost a lot of women friends. Now, there's some female friends, women friends that I don't see every day anymore because in some way or another, we're not aligned in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
I have friends that don't have children. And so that kind of causes our schedules are different. I have friends that have new boyfriends in their 50s, and that causes a different dynamic. But the women that I don't see every day as much is less of a losing of them, and it's more of I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the people that I have literally said no thank you to are closed-minded, narrow-minded, inflexible. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
That's a no.
Yeah. And it's beautiful to say, actually, I know, we're good, it's all fine. So as we wrap up, what would you say to a young Jodie who sees themselves as a change maker in spaces that are traditional, that are not open to change? How would you guide that person?
A young Jodie?
A young Jodie, to stick through what they believe in and to continue to pursue being the change agent that they desire to be. Because the world doesn't roll the red carpet and say, hey, you change agent at the back, let's give you the mic. You got to fight through that and work progressively.
I feel like the young Jodie. I do.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I feel like a little girl sometimes. And I say to myself, you got this, JoJo. I didn't know I was doing this. My cousin was staying with me recently. She said, every day you say, you got this, JoJo.
Oh, really?
I go up and down my stairs in the back. You got this, JoJo. And I think that is, I would just continue to treat myself the way I'm treating myself now. You got this, JoJo. I'm excited to see how you get yourself out of this one. I'm excited to see the new language you develop. I'm excited to see how you receive the next blessing. I've been chanting, I receive blessings easily. You got this, JoJo. Gentle.
Yeah.
Steady.
Yeah.
I tend to spin sometimes. I'm fast. I'm breaking dishes in the kitchen.
What's your star sign?
I'm a Leo.
Oh, okay.
Virgo rising.
I'm Capricorn.
Leo Virgo. You're Capricorn. Oh,
Yeah.
I married a Capricorn.
Yeah.
You guys are smart. You're smart. I think taking it light a little bit, playful with myself. And also, I want to fiercely protect these little girls. I would go back and protect myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
If I were mothering myself, I would be, as I did with my kids, 10 steps ahead. That's one thing. My mother is a phenomenal woman. My grandmother's phenomenal. But there's certain things we just miss. And so I sometimes I am my own big sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to mess with JoJo.
Yeah. I have navigated the space in corporate with the belief that if I don't do it, nobody else will. And I say now to myself and to my kids, speak your truth even when you're afraid.
Yeah.
And especially when you're afraid, you must speak. Because a lot of us are in spaces that are intimidating.
Very.
And but to sit quietly away from the main table, there are those seats at the back, and you find some young leaders would avoid the chairs that are on the actual table, and they go to ones on the periphery of the table or in the room. And I'm like, no, sit there.
My dad used to say, walk into the room like you own the joint.
Yeah.
And that's a bravado that Black people own.
Yeah.
But internally, we're still shy, nervous, unsure. But it is a practice. Sit at the front, walk in like you own the joint, and deliver what you know.
Yeah.
Because it is a unique perspective that we have as Black people. And it is the bit of the world that I know that I do not want to be forgotten. It is the thing that I want to share. I don't want the life that I know, small or large, to be left aside. So I bring it every time to the table. I used to think, what can I tell them that's smart? And now I think, what did I do like 7 hours ago with my kids that I can talk about? Because that is precisely the point.
I love
how we run our homes.
Yeah, I love that. I find inspiration from the fact that I grew up in the township.
Okay.
So when I'm facing challenging moments in the boardroom, I'm like, yes, I've walked the streets in the township. I can walk the corridors in this boardroom.
It means a lot.
And if I've got to put on my running shoes, I know how to even run barefooted. I will still run. So the fact that we are more than equipped.
Yeah.
And we don't need to seek to be the smartest, but let's speak from the experience that we've lived. Thank you so
Thank
much, Jodie.
This was the surprise little moment for me. I did not expect to be with you today.
How did you find the conversation?
It was great. Grounding, affirming, fun.
Oh, really?
I'm always into the fun. I'm like, if I'm having a good time, it's good. And also smart.
Yeah.
I like
we
being
appreciate you.
Thank you.
That is Jodie Patterson, everybody, on Cheers to Failure. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please won't you do me a favor? Click the subscribe button as well as the notifications button so you know when we've got new content on our YouTube channel. And share it with your friends, whoever you believe needs to know that failure doesn't mark the end, but is filled with beautiful, glorious lessons we all need to have. Thank you.